everybody's body is different because everybody's insulin sensitivity is different and everyone's hormones are different, changing, especially for females. It's different than male patients. And we really create that individualized package for them because we want them to leave at the end of everything, not just that first visit, but we want them to leave feeling empowered and healthy and strong, and not just they're alive, but that they're living. And that makes a huge difference to their families and their friends, and just everything gets impacted all from the start of these questionnaires.
You touched on a subject matter there about being left alone. We go through a process and we do keep connectivity with our patients. With today's technology, there's no reason why we can't have a person or an individual connected to our office and being able to give us information such as BMI, BIA information, which is basal metabolic stuff, the scale weight, the fat densities. We can have this information. Today we have Fitbits that connect to us, and we can really understand that that data is now flowable in a private way, and someone on the other side is reading that. Tell us what you do with individuals in terms of the coaching that we offer people for specific metabolic syndrome.
Of course. For coaching, we have a scale, and like Dr. Jimenez was saying, this scale not only tells you your weight, but it also sends your weight, your water intake, your how much of your weight is water weight, how much of your weight is lean muscle. And it also tells us, it can track it and see the percentages of where you're changing. So we can track that maybe the number on the scale hasn't moved, and some people might start to feel discouraged. But when we look at the numbers of what that scale actually tells us, we can see that you are losing body fat and it's being replaced by muscle. So even though that number is the same, your body inside is chemically changing. You're making those differences you need to make to keep up with it and not to quit, because that can, like I said, it can be discouraging for certain people.
So there's a mind-body connection here. There's a mental,
Right.
There's a mental component, a teamwork dynamics that is really important when we're working through metabolic syndrome. We just can't leave people here, just take the football and run 80 plays. No, you need to have huddles each time to discuss and change the adaptive processes. In terms of the other areas with fat analysis, I know Alex has got some additional areas, and Astrid is going to be discussing in a few minutes, but I'm going to focus on Alex right now in terms of telling us a little bit about what people can do with exercise or fitness that could stimulate or dynamically change their metabolic processes at the biochemical level.
Well, I would first, in all honesty, is be honest with yourself. You are probably going to be the best observer of your own situation. We all know what foods we do well with. We all know what foods we don't do well with. And we've always kind of had some sort of intuition as we've grown into the people we are today, knowing what foods work well for us and what foods don't work well for us. For example, myself, I know that if I have a large consumption of carbohydrates, I tend to put on weight pretty easily. But I am pretty active, so the days that I do have strenuous activity, I make sure that I do have a balanced meal with proteins, fats, and a decent amount of carbohydrates. But the days that I'm not very active or haven't gone to the gym, I make sure that most of my caloric intakes comes from good fats or proteins. And that's going to be the best thing, is just be honest with yourself, see how you're doing, find your BMI, find your basal metabolic rate, and then start putting numbers to paper, because if you keep track of things, odds are you're going to do better and be able to control the way that your body's responding. The next thing is I would find a health coach that's just kind of to stay on track and find any recommendations. The good part is that we have the internet out there and sources like yourself, Dr. Jimenez, that are able to provide information to the public on a new level and be able to understand and grasp the concept from a different perspective and give people more information that they didn't know that they had at their fingertips.
I'm going to take it back to Astrid. Thank you, Alex. But one of the things is I want people to understand we're going to do assault on metabolic syndrome, because this is a big problem and it's affecting so many in all communities around the United States. And we have to have an open forum to be able to open up. And sometimes we just don't have 10 seconds. This is not a 10-second, 2-minute thing. We have to really understand that there needs to be a teamwork.